And we are live with SOW Ignition 89 here in the Board Hall in Atlantic City. And it is time for the Spring World Tag 500 to get started. Amongst all the fallout from Supercharged this past weekend, man, what a show we have for everyone today.
Yeah, so last weekend, I'm still processing a bit of what we saw at the beginning of that show. We have a new national champion in the men's team. Tony Lee successfully claiming the belt from Women's Rhapsodies in a very big upset, from what I can tell. We did not see that coming.
You and me both. And I think most of the SOW roster and the Paradise in particular felt that.
It's a quite interesting situation to be in, given how dominant Tony's had been, not just since his return, but even before. He was almost, he was at the top of the card, and he was as good as the people who were still at the top of our card. I think the only people who had his number pretty well written down would be Ryan Richardson and Narinori Ali. One of whom we're going to be hearing from later today.
Of course, the focus of SOW for the majority of the next month. There are some exceptions, of course. We'll get into next week's massive show as the night goes along, but we are a month away, roughly, from crowning the first ever SOW Women's Tag Team Champions. And that is what all these teams have been spending the last 5 to 6 months preparing for. The tournament is officially underway.
And it starts off with a matchup we've seen several times here. It's the Bangers Corpse Gals versus Shining, Kazumi and Kimiko. This is, it's honestly a matchup that has been back and forth as well. I think we've seen both sides win this in separate days, so there's no telling how this one is going to go. Kimiko has had a really strong showing as of late in these tag matches, and while Kazumi's been on the downturn a little bit in terms of her overall success, she's still just as capable of a wrestler as she always has been. Unfortunately, though, she did just come off of a relatively big loss. I mean, failing to win the World Championship for the third time now. The third attempt she's made. You gotta wonder if that might be weighing down on her still. Keeping her focus a little bit away from the match at hand.
It's definitely a fresh wound at the very least, right? I mean, you can see the disappointment on her face this past Saturday, but so far tonight, she looks fine to me. We'll have to see if that, obviously a loss here at the beginning of the tournament could have some ramifications on her, but so far she doesn't seem too deterred, knowing that she's got to be able to stay locked in, because this match isn't just about her. This tournament isn't just about her, but I mean everything that she's been working on with Hoshina as well.
Yeah, it's just something that you got to keep in mind when you wrestlers may not outwardly show dejection, but you always got to keep a good eye on the way they fight. We've seen Kazumi fight hard. We've seen her fight fast. But we've also seen moments where she seems to be on the back foot instead. Gas, or I should say foot off the pedal. So hopefully, like you're saying, that match isn't harming her much right now. Hopefully she keeps that up and we see Kazumi at her best, because I'd like to see this team of Shining come out of this first round with double wins.
Great.
Of course, it's tough to do that when your first opponent is a team that you know so well, a team that you've basically been at war, quote unquote, against for almost over a full year now.
It's really tough. There is no easy road here. Adashko, you might think, would be the easy side to deal with, but she's had her own improvements during this tag run. I mean, honestly, it's almost hard to call them improvements. This is like her true calling, being in the team though, rather than trying to do singles competition. Most of Doe and Adashko's experience in JTW is as a team, after all.
You definitely see that here in this match. She cuts off Kimiko really well, but unfortunately Kimiko counters. But Adashko right back on the offense, and it didn't last long.
Kimiko's doing a very good job of maintaining the advantage. Adashko looking to tag out. Gets the tag, now Doe Hyun in there. Catches Kimiko onto her shoulders. Airplane spin, but made herself dizzy.
Kimiko not going for a tag yet. She's still feeling pretty good. But, you know, Doe is really good at the mind games. And getting smacked up.
A nice arm drag.
Now, here we go.
The advantage and goes for the tag.
I think she needed to tag her. That wasn't the right decision. She had been in this match for a good minute there.
Yeah, you know, you can't, even if you're feeling good, you can't underestimate the ability to rest on the apron. Especially with the difficulties your opponent's going to have if you can continuously cut off their own tag. Frequent tags make that much easier to do.
Yep. In fact, I thought Adashko was calling for a tag there, but Doe decided to stay on the offensive after winning the strike exchange.
Drop kick to the chest of Doe Hyun. Now, Cosme's really getting up there with this offensive, not explosion, but, you know, combination. Not giving Hyun any time to recover. Oh, but a counter from Hyun who lands a nice moonsault. Cut play has not come into play yet, it appears. Solid dodges.
God, wow.
Avoids all those attacks and tags to Adashko.
A great sequence by Doe Hyun there.
Absolutely. Now she set Adashko up for the advantage. But Kazumi catches her with a side headlock takeover. And again, very Kaito Meiji style headlocks.
She's looking to seize that momentum away from the undead or the corpse gals. Oh,
that is a way to pop it back onto your side from Adashko. Snap DDT into a hip up, but only a 1.
cut play is now in effect. Both teams basically waste one. For a little bit of chaos here in the opening match of the World Tag 500.
Solid neckbreaker into a cover. This time, Hyun not interested in using the cut play, causing Shining to actually lose the cut play advantage game right away almost.
That's exactly the kind of mistake you cannot have in the World Tag 500. So hopefully that Shining can bait Doe or Adashko into wasting one later on in this match.
It's going to be a difficult process though, because Doe and Adashko have a significant history as a team. Now Cosme, after laying some hurt on Adashko on the outside, tags Kimiko and immediately heads to the apron. Kimiko with a frog splash. Cut play from both sides. Yeah, that could have been it if Adashko hadn't managed to kick out. The cut play was perfect. Oh my god, what a back fist. The cut play was perfect. The placement was flawless. Now Dashko going for the tag on her end. Looking for a double team move, but can't get it. Then she sends Kimiko into the corner where Do-Hyun, oh my god! Huge combination, and she's not done! Scariest moonsault ever! And wow. Dashko had the opportunity to break that up if she wanted, or prevent that from being broken up, I should say, if she wanted. Instead, just let the breakup happen. That was interesting.
I mean, there's definitely... I mean, I have to take a look back at that footage. I actually think Kimiko kicked out. I saw the ref do the very close near fall symbol. I actually think Nishi didn't make it. Either way, big opportunity lost.
Wait a minute.
Oh, wait a minute.
Scariest moonsault ever. There's no cut play left for Shining to use. And that's it.
That wasted cut play ended up costing Shining here in the early goings. And that is a back-to-back big losses for Nishi. Well, unsurprising that Aaron's a little mixed right now. He's happy to see Hermes lose that championship, but he's got so much unfinished business now, he has no idea who he's going after next. But meanwhile, it looks as if we have not seen the last of the battles between the Empire and Disruption. A very big rematch here between Caster Leapton and Steve Levy.
Yeah, last time these two were in the ring, Steve gave us Caster had a bit of an injury scare at the hands of Steve, and it led to the ref calling the match and Steve getting that win. Now we're going to see how things, hopefully at least, how things would have gone had there not been that stoppage. Of course, there's no telling for sure, given the success overall that Disruption has had here in Season 3. Steve Levy's been doing good in singles on the whole. And Caster's had a bit of a rough season.
Yeah, things haven't went Caster's way in terms of the singles department. But, you know, March didn't really go Disruption's way, so now getting another win over Caster here from Steve could possibly swing that momentum back towards Disruption.
It's very possible. Steve's going to have to work for it, though. The Emperor does not go down lightly. We've seen him tank through, I mean, I can't even count how many different people have landed multiple finishers on Caster, and Caster still was able to get out.
Oh yeah, he is not going to make it easy on anyone.
Yeah,
no matter the situation.
Without an injury to be a part of it. I think Caster's record in singles matches, he's only lost, if I'm correct, 5 singles matches throughout his entire time in SOW.
That is an insane stat. He's been here since the beginning.
Yeah. And that's I could be off in the sense of he could have lost less if you're not counting that match against that first match against Spain.
I'm sure Caster counts it, even though it was via ref stoppage.
I mean, the record's good, but no.
Yeah.
It's there in the record. But yeah, I was gonna say there's not that many people who have that few losses, and of the ones who have that few, none of them were day oneers.
There's a lot of people who thought that Caster should have been one of the favorites to become the first ever world champion.
He was in the favorites, but due to a loss and draw in his records, he ended up being unable to claim that final space, which went to ZC Woods from his division at the time. Woods, of course, being the person who defeated Caster in the tournament. And of course, the other bracket we all know famously had 3 finalists who had to have a triple threat elimination match on the night in order to decide who would be going to the actual finals. That was the eventual champion, Hermes Rhapsody.
And then, interestingly enough, from that point, Caster really didn't aggressively go for the world title really until the beginning of this year, where he just called out Byron and the Paradise for a bunch of championship matches that did not go their way. But
yeah, I think for Caster, early on in SOW, he had the feud with Ray, which had him a bit distracted at first. And then the national championship came about. And he won and catered that for a good chunk of the rest of season 1 and a good chunk of season 2, until post-world record, where he entered the Grand Prix again and was once again just shy of earning a shot in the finals.
yeah, history's kind of telling us that Caster is an incredibly talented wrestler, obviously. It just seems like when it comes to tournament format, that seems to be where he struggles the most.
At the very least, in these first 2 Grand Prix, he has had just a couple of unfortunate losses that have kept him out. The last Grand Prix, there was a loss. His only 2 were Ryan Richardson and Kurata Hideaki.
So you can't really fault him for.
No, not at all. Most Caster himself likely is in the mindset that he will be claiming that world championship soon enough. He just needs to get back to an opportunity. At this point, though, it's going to be really difficult for him to get there before the Grand Prix begins. There's only this month and then next month. And as it stands, there's a clear set of favorites right now in the rankings for this month.
Well, this match needed to happen for him, and he needs to make sure that it goes his way.
10 minutes gone.
Losing this match here could have a ripple effect of consequences for Caster here in the first half of the season.
Absolutely. As it currently stands, the top of the men's world title division is Kaito Meiji with 5 wins, no losses, and a single draw.
And I think possibly most interesting is that, at least for the moment, he hasn't had declared any intentions to challenge Byron for the championship.
Well, not yet at least. We'll have to see how that continues going forward, because obviously he's been a little distracted by Death Panther and fighting the rest of the Paradise up until this point.
And if you look at the rankings for the men's world title scene right now, that some of the biggest surprises are the guys who are on the bottom. The bottom three, Ray De Guerra, Death Panther, and Aaron Payne. All things that you didn't think you'd be talking about this early in the season.
No.
What power bomb? Oh, wait a minute. We don't want to miss the symphony. Oh, but he stopped only at 2 because Steve popped up so quick. Wow.
Steve, that seems to be something that's happening a lot lately. The opponents of Caster do not want to let him get to that third power bomb. Landing a nice elbow strike into a drop almost, but Caster able to kick out with relative ease still.
I felt that headbutt.
Lands a solid headbutt in return.
But Steve going after the same leg that got injured, I believe, in their first match.
Not surprising, once you've located a weakness on an opponent, you're going to be targeting it for the rest of any match.
And wow, what an elbow drop from the top rope. But doesn't capitalize, and Caster gets back to his feet. Now both men are down after that lariat. Nice running bulldog from Stevie. Picks Caster up. Drop kicks him back down. Really taking control of the momentum of this match. And back to working the legs.
Oh! Really, like you're saying, he's putting a lot of pressure on those legs. Caster might be really close to the ropes. But even if he grabs them, the damage is being done here. If that Hornet's Nest, the sharpshooter that Steve Levy uses, is locked in, Caster could see himself having to tap out. Now, of course, you're going to expect Caster to not want to let the match even get close to having that happen. So once he's starting to feel the pressure, he's going to start putting it back on his opponent.
Little bionic elbow action from Steve.
Oh my god!
Oh!
Diamond Dust into the cover, but Caster kicks out. It's a devastating Russian leg sweep.
Big chop. Another big chop.
Drops with the rope. Steve Levy is back up, trying to fight his way back. Caster responding with chops. Oh, nice counter. Steve tried to grab the leg. Caster rolled it into a leg bar, knee bar.
Back to those leg submissions. Caster showing that he can do them too. And apply just as much torque onto the knee.
Caster, he has that elevated grab as well as the Ninja, which he's won multiple matches with. Even this toe hold here, where he steps on the other foot, as he wrenches at the leg, knee, and toes. Right into a half grab, same leg being targeted by Castor as well. Goes for the German suplexes. That's real close to the ropes, but seems like Steve couldn't quite reach them. Was able to kick out. Now Castor landing the elbows across the painted face of Steve Levin.
All Steve could do was basically sit there and take it, unable to get any movement towards the ropes. Oh, a deep cover after that DDT.
But
not only a 2.
Quite capitalized. That was a very smooth DDT as well.
Oh my God!
Even flow as we get into another pinning combination, but no. The code red, not enough. Castor rolls him up, hits the power bomb. 1, and yet that's the 3. That's the 3rd power bomb he was looking for earlier that Steve tried to avoid. All right, now this is going to be a very interesting one. This was the team that these two initially called out. Specifically, Bia called them out when they first joined up, Bia and Aiko. They were able to beat the Shogunate at that time. It is currently the Shogunate's only loss to the 2nd division of Shining. Can they turn that around and come out with the win this time? Leaving Shining as 0-2 as a stable in this first round. Or will Aiko and Bia still have the magic that they need to take down Ayama and Keiko?
Well, a big thing that has to be addressed, of course, is the fallout from Supercharged, with Aiko punching her ticket to a Women's World Championship match at World Record. But the reason why I mentioned that isn't because of Aiko's victory, but the fact that her and Bia both wrestled twice that night, and it's only been a few days. There is a good chance that neither woman on the Shining side will be 100%, especially Aiko, who went through the entire match. Of course, unfortunately, the referee for the fast count took out Bia Quinn a little earlier than she should have been eliminated, but you can't do anything about it. But regardless of that, both women were in the ring for a substantial amount of time. We'll have to see if any of those nagging injuries from Saturday show their head in this one.
Alright, so I'm being told to clarify there was no fast count at the pay-per-view. Supercharged was officiated exactly according to rules and regulations in SOW.
Yeah, that's just a rumor. I got that straight from Bia Quinn herself on her social media.
I'm also now being told to verify that the customer's social media accounts have not been taken as any official information or news sources for SOW. If you want official SOW news, you must follow the official SOW accounts. But just somebody buzzing in my ear saying that I gotta say this stuff now.
Yeah, Hera can stop with the corporate propaganda any time now. We have an actual match to call here. Focusing so much on the past. Ridiculous, Hera.
Right now I'm being told that...
Oh, I'm being told to shut the hell up. That's crazy.
What I was being told is that the commentary team should not be addressing backstage officials during the match. So let us just go ahead and get on with the commentaries. Keiko trying to fight off both Bia and Aiko, but Aiko managing to get through with an uppercut. Goes for a schoolboy. Cannot get more than a half count there. Now Keiko tagged out to Ayama. trying to put the pressure in on Aiko.
I mean, that's the strategy that you should be doing. Even though, yes, it's Kamura Aiko, blah, 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 how great she is. She did wrestle to the very end to win the 8-cylinder elimination match. Out of both of them, oh, wait a minute, look at this. Look at this.
Oh my God, double trigger? A double trigger from Aiko and Bia is not something I was expecting. I don't think Bia's ever done a knee strike.
They are developing as a tag team as time has gone on, but yeah, the Shogunate should want Aiko in the ring, I think. She should be the most tired of the two. And this isn't to say that it's a guarantee that, you know, Aiko isn't feeling 100%. Just, if we go on history, and the fact that these are human beings we're talking about, wrestling 2 matches in one night with one of them being 8-cylinder, you're not going to be 100% just days later.
No, that's true. However, one thing to note is that both of the losses that Shining has experienced as a team came at the hands of Bia being pinned. So it does also leave a question of who is the weak link in the Shining team? Who is the one who is more likely to stay down when you knock her down? I think history has spoken that it's Bia. I mean, we've seen so many times where Aiko has been taken out by move after move after move, and yet that shoulder still came up off the mat.
I don't really get the point you're trying to make here.
The point I'm making is, I think that realistically, Shogunate, if they're smart, wants to keep Bia in the ring as long as possible. Even if Aiko wrestled more, it doesn't necessarily make her a better target than somebody that they have seen get pinned in the last year. Multiple times.
Well, you know, Bia Quinn is very new to tag team wrestling. Can't exactly say that it's her forte.
I mean, no, that's also part of the point. Is that which of the two sides of the team is the more likely to beat the weaker link? And regardless of the reason for why that is, I would say that for this team of Shining, it would be Bia. Just like I would say for the Shogunate, it's probably Keiko. I believe it was Keiko who was pinned when the Shogunate lost to Shining originally. Though my memory of that match is not 100%. Of course, you know Ayama was the other woman at the end of that match against Aiko. And only just came up shy of being the third woman to beat Aiko since 2025. Fortunately for Ayama, that statistic remains a 2. Keiko getting everything she has so right now in this match. As a tag out.
That play should be active relatively soon. So as I say, getting out of that corner. And now, of course, Aiko goes on the offensive.
High kick in the corner as well. There's the 10-minute call. That means that play is now active. They're coming off the ropes with a head scissors. Now sends Keiko into the ropes and hits a flying uppercut.
To be noted, Ayama was calling for the tag a minute ago, but Keiko was not going for it here, even when she gets back on her feet first.
It seems Keiko is invested in continuing to fight. Now, one thing for fans at home to not get confused by is the fact that Keiko wears a dark purple and black, the same main colors as our world champion. They are not alike. In fact, they've never even wrestled in the same company.
They just happen to have the same
Until this company, of course. Yeah, they just happen to both be wearing dark purple and black. Got a lot of purple, honestly, in this SOW. I mean, even Ayama and Aiko have the same shade of purple. Of course.
Shades of supercharged main event here. Ayama and Aiko. Well, Aiko tagged, never mind.
Aiko tagged into Bia with her bubblegum colors.
And Bia just not letting Aiko take unnecessary damage, so you can see that's a bit of character development for her.
It's very good tag practice as well. You don't want your partner taking damage when they're going to the apron. The whole point of them tagging out is to the cover. We've seen a lot of teams fail to recognize that before.
Oh, those kidney kicks. Those can't feel nice.
Ayama looking to take control. Bia managed to avoid the elbow but got thrown into the corner. However, she avoids the corner and gets tossed out of the ring by Ayama.
Ayama kind of having a big surgence here in terms of her abilities in the ring. What a forearm strike.
Super kick, slips behind and kicks the legs out right after. And snaps the arms and they're base planted into the floor. Only very light padding on the outside there. The body slam. Now Bia.
Starting to feel herself. Big drop kick.
Oh, but Ayama right back up. I don't think Bia expected Ayama to have recovery that quick. Gets hit with a high knee. And now Ayama front slam. Bia pushes her away. Does not want to grapple on the ground, which I understand that. I wouldn't want to grapple with Ayama either. She is trained in quite a few martial arts, including Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Now Bia's kind of getting fired up here.
Oh, Ayama looking for a tag now to Keiko. And Keiko catching Bia with the katana. But not going for the end, instead snaps the arm. I think that's a mistake. I would have gone for the pinfall there. Might have been able to clinch the win. Said it seems
very, very strange decision.
I think it was almost like she either expected Bia to kick out or didn't want to pin Bia.
Now Aiko is the legal woman once more.
Well, it's Aiko, Keiko as the legal winners of this match. Bia getting to continue to fight Keiko while the ref is distracted by Aiko on the outside. And she chooses to leave as soon as the ref's back in, not wanting to get called out for being in beyond the time frame allotted. And shockingly, Aiko running that one-on-one exchange. Got her set up, going for the Meteora, crashes in, but immediate breakup from Ayama, who gets a Stardust trigger for her troubles. And now Bia is looking.
Oh.
Sling blade!
Oh, but Aiko unable to capitalize on it afterwards. That could have been huge.
I think Aiko was hoping to get it set up from that into the glowing finale, but couldn't get there. Keiko responded with a Godman Beauty.
Oh no, once again, it looks like the Shining team tonight wasting their cut play and their opponent now having an extra over them. We saw that quite literally decide the opening match tonight.
And now we've got the half crab locked in on Aiko. That's something that both members of the Shogunate use to good effect. Oh my God, wait a minute! Glowing finale! If Bia can make the cutoff, and she does,
Wrestling cuts off, and they pick up another victory over the Shogunate.
If there was, I was just about to say, if Bia can make the cutoff, it might not matter that they have one less. And sure enough, Shining. All right, well, we knew we were going to be hearing from him tonight. This is a man who we haven't gotten to see on pay-per-view in quite some time. He's been wrestling on Ignition, not booked for a match tonight, but a lot can change in 24 hours.
We're going to be far from the first time.
Well, we're going to have to see what he has to say. Acknowledging the loss to Ryan. Okay, well, that's a nice place to start. I guess he's never been a sore loser, so it's not too surprising.
Of course, immediately flips the script and is now critical of the former champion.
I can't blame him for this. I mean, as much as it made sense for the sake of his pride to accept that match and that stipulation, it did completely neutralize all of his submissions.
Now it looks like he is not giving up on going after Byron in the World Heavyweight Championship.
Oh! Okay, this is not what I was fully expecting, but I guess when his name has been spoken, he's gonna answer.
Most definitely.
And we're gonna hear from Ryan Richardson tonight as well, I suppose.
It was a fantastic showing in that Gates of Hell match, but in hindsight, I'm sure even Ryan does have to admit that whether he agrees with it or not, deep down inside, Nakatomi Ali is speaking truth. Taking away submission holds was a mistake.
It's almost, honestly, it almost makes you wonder if that was Byron's intention to avoid having to tap. I mean, with the submissions removed, it basically means that the only way Ryan could beat him is with the lariat or the knee, unless Ryan were to pull out something crazy that we've never seen before, which gave Byron a perfect scout.
There is the admission from the former champion. Two former champions in the ring right now.
2 out of the 4 world champions we've had here in the men's division for SOW. Number 2 and number 3 in the ring right now.
And it looks like he's wanting yet another match. He is willing to possibly cripple his rankings for the season. If he fails a second time, I mean, he's already got a reduction.
Yeah, I mean, that would be, it would be catastrophic, essentially. His only opportunity after that would be the Grand Prix. If he doesn't get in or do well in the Grand Prix, that would be probably the ends of his hopes for the season, because he'd have to spend the rest of it cleaning up the production. Ali isn't lying either, though. His current record is just slightly better than Ryan's. If he were to get wins to equate to what Ryan has, his own reduction, which he got at Victory Lane, would be cleared out and he would be close he would be above Ryan in the rankings, is what I would say.
Ryan trying to convince him to wait.
Oh, but
Oh
something
boy,
I was looking at when I was looking at the sheet is there's actually somebody above both of the men in the ring right now.
Well, I alluded to it earlier. He hadn't formally declared any intentions for the championship, and now that's flipped on its head. Kaito Meiji wants the world championship.
And it sounds like he wants it at Spring Carnival. I guess with the current rankings, that's his right. No losses, 5 wins, and 1 draw. Well, the television title scene is ramping up as much as the women's tag division is. Because not only do we have an opportunity match tonight, the winner of this match next week will take on Alexei Zakar for the television championship on Ignition Formula. And then we're going to have yet another television championship opportunity on Overclock, which will be fulfilled on Ignition 92. There is a lot coming to the television championship and a lot more work for the television champion, Alexei Zakar.
He's had a pretty incredible reign with the championship that not many of us could have seen coming. Either men here, former tag team partners, colliding once more on Ignition, but either of these men could easily be the one to take it from him next week on Formula, which we have not had a ton of time to talk about, but it is one of the biggest crossover supercards we've ever seen.
Yeah, it's going to be 3 companies on one show. And there are some matches announced already. Of course, the National Championship Eliminator is still on. Tony Lee has confirmed that even though Hermes Rhapsodies is no longer the champion, he will at least honor the opportunity El Rey de Guerra earned. So it'll be El Rey de Guerra versus Tony Lee in a National Championship Eliminator. We'll also have a not triple threat, but a trios match. It'll be ACLL, SOW, and JBW versus ACLL, SOW, and JEPW. Which, I mean, honestly, it's very funny. Like, to have all 3 companies on both sides. Not really much of a versus match, I guess. It's more of just a...
Well, Formula's always kind of been the collab show anyway.
Yeah.
It's been Prohibited Gate has been the let's see who's had the best year show. That will be much later on this year.
Yeah, it should be, I believe, the last major show of the year almost. Second.
It normally is. Yeah, it's normally right there at the end. It's fitting. Each company will send the best of the best to face off and see who claims, in this case, it'll be 2026 as their year.
I believe last year it was SOW who was able to come out just on top.
It was a lot closer than it had been the previous year, that's for sure. Because it came down to the last match this time.
Yeah, it sure did. And then coming up also on Formula, we have a match between Kasumi Nakashima and Sarah Eris, 2 women who are not in the tag World Tag 500. Kasumi doesn't even have a tag partner. But both of them are interested in going after championship goals anyways. So they've got themselves a match set up for Ignition 90 Formula. We also have SOW's first Lucha Tag match. It'll be Lucha Tag Rules. It'll be our first on Ignition at the very least. We may have had one on Overclock in the past. And it'll be El Hijo de Asesino alongside Sin Dudarlo, taking on Diabolico del Plata, Lord Barbados, and Manny Inigo. And the last match we have announced for that show will be that show's main event. JEPW has decided that Hermes Rhapsodies will be defending the WWSL Junior Heavyweight Championship against Nagi Toshia.
We can see Hermes lose both his belts within a couple weeks of each other.
Well, Nagi's going to have to beat him. Nagi was not at the finals of that Global Junior Scramble, so Hermes does have a bit of an advantage going into that match. However, Nagi Toshio has not stopped wrestling since then. He has continued to improve, and though we saw on Overclock 15, he was unsuccessful in defeating rookie Taichi Kazama. That's, I would say, the SOW difference that Taichi has gotten in our SOW dojo. He's been really growing there, and from what I hear, he'll be returning to Ignition relatively soon.
It'll be exciting for him. Yeah, I mean, I'll be excited to see these developments in person that we keep hearing about.
I know he's been slowly but surely rising up. He's managed, for a short time, they were posting around this belt. Wasn't an officially sanctioned belt. I believe one of the dojo members brought in to declare themselves champion. And from what I've heard, he's held that for at least 3 months now.
Oh my goodness, what a power bomb from Dakari.
Let's go for the cover though. I guess it is relatively early still. And of course, Dakari, not really the most rush of wrestlers. He's very happy to play around. Similar to Maria Ramirez. And you could almost argue that that's been part of his flaw. With why he hasn't had as much success as many might have thought he would have had. Elijah Lee, on the other hand, does try to go for the kill whenever possible.
Both men staring each other down. Dakari finally getting back in the ring.
Immediately catches Elijah in a Russian bear hug.
Looks so painful.
Elijah gets out, sets him in the center. He's lining him up for that T800 kick. And he catches him flush. But Dakari pops back up before a pin can even be attempted.
And yet Elijah seems unfazed by that, like he expected that.
Oh, stomp on the arm, snaps it back with ferocity. Goes for a chop, but Dakari avoids it and drops him on his face. They got him up, heightens it, sits out, power bomb. But Elijah is not done yet. Oh, wait for a buckshot, but Dakari avoids it. However, Elijah was immediately followed it up with essentially ripping Dakari's own pop-up powerbomb, and now a folding powerbomb to boot. But Dakari just a little too tough to be taken out.
I got mentioned the strength it requires to powerbomb Dakari. Oh yeah, is just. I didn't think Elijah Lee had that in him multiple times, but here we go.
Yeah, They sure did. I mean, that was very surprising. But now he's being stopped. Hikari coming off the ropes. Oh! Hammering lariat. But only a 2. Elijah's still alive in this match. Hikari's got him set up through the ropes.
Oh!
Picks him across them. But he's starting to tire out a little.
These longer matches do not suit these big men well.
It's not when they're being forced to consistently push in offense. If Elijah would stay down longer, Hikari probably would have an easier job, but that's not an easy request from any competitor here in SOW.
Nope.
Huge uppercut from Hikari, but as you can see, he's still worn down. Oh! Not enough to be caught off guard, though. Oh my god. Oh, wait a minute. Oh! Massive lariat sending Elijah to the outside. And Hikari, rather than taking this opportunity to catch his breath, follows him out there, trying to inflict more damage. And that gets him caught! Judgment Day! Unfortunately, you can't pin your opponent on the outside, so Elijah had to let it go.
6.
Now he's going to have to find an opportunity to recapitalize here in the ring. It's popped up and just allowed to hard fall onto his face, takes a backbreaker, and now Hikari is stalking again. And Elijah tries to move away, he gets caught with a pop-up powerbomb.
That could be it.
Oh, Elijah, not done yet. Lifts him up, jumping, sit-out powerbomb, gets the 3.
And Alexei Zakar now faces one of his quite literal biggest challenges yet for that television championship as Zakar puts exclamation mark on tonight's match.
It's time for the main event here. And it is a big one. Right now, the Classics, despite having one of the biggest bonuses in the season alongside Shining, are sitting near the bottom of the rankings tally because they have had a struggle in this season. And their opponents tonight, the team of Charlie and Nephthys, have faced no difficulties so far. Now, the Classics are coming off of what was a solid win not long ago over the second team of Shining, Aiko and Bia. However, so are their opponents. You can't really give them that momentum. That means that for the Classics versus the Bangers here tonight, it's just going to be which of the teams is the better team.
And each side thinks, respectively, they are the best, which makes it even more difficult.
I mean, absolutely. We know that the Classics have been incredibly in tune with one another. But shockingly, so have Charlie and Nephthys. I wouldn't have thought that Charlie and Nephthys, with their personalities, could get along for more than 2 seconds. But they've been doing a pretty darn good job of slamming the record Tuesday as working as a team.
It's very unfortunate for me as a viewer.
Well, unfortunately tonight, we are not here as viewers, we are here as commentary. that we have to try our best to call this match down the middle.
I'll leave that to you, Mr. Lead Analyst.
I am your lead analyst here. As always. We'll do that again at the end of the show.
And the teaser for the end.
All right, now we're starting with Pat Roberts and Charlie Scene. Pat Roberts has come into her own very well here at SOW since coming to the main roster. Unlike most of our dojo talent, her and Cameron Stone did not start on high gear. They both got ignition matches very early, and Pat got some really big wins to prove why she deserved that opportunity. I believe even a win early on over Cosmo. Now, since joining up with Cameron and forming this team of the Classics, they started off last season with 4 wins. And as it stands overall, their combined record from seasons 2 and 3 is still in the positive. Even though they've had a rougher season 3 than they had in season 2, they're still doing good. A win here could get them fully back in the saddle and put them back on the top as favorites to become the first women's tag champion.
Of course, right now, Nephthys and Charlie believe that should be them. Though, how would that work with Nephthys's national championship? Would she have to vacate?
No, you can defend both at the same time. That is the rule that was stated for these belts before they were implemented. Unlike the men's tag division, the women's tag division will have no separation from the singles, which means you will be allowed to hold both a women's tag and singles championship at the same time. Hold and compete, provided
of course.
Willing to hold double.
I was going to say, double duty would almost become an expectation at that point, which would not bode well for possibly both championships you'd have around your waist.
No, yeah, it would be quite difficult. Quite difficult indeed if you were to try and hold the tag belts as well as a singles championship. However, if successful, it would be the mark of an extremely accomplished wrestler.
It would be Ico-esque, you could say.
Yeah?
Huh? What? I don't know. I haven't said anything.
Alright, I can get the bottom of it.
Oh no, my connection's gonna be severed. I'm the internet. Can't watch.
That's unfortunate. Wrestling. Nephthys and Cameron Stone having a pretty solid back and forth here. Cameron deciding she's not a fan of it. Tags to Pat Roberts, who immediately gets hit with a Party Rush. And now Nephthys is going, okay, let me tag too.
Fights off a double team move there.
Tries to go for a headlock. Nephthys says, I'm not being forced out of the ring yet.
And then it's immediately forced out of the ring.
And he was there long enough to break up the hold, and then the ref said, all right, that's enough.
You did your bit. Get out.
Now, obviously, I've talked about it many times with Pat Roberts. The most dangerous thing in her arsenal, her strongest weapon, and the thing that you always have to keep your eye out for, that DDT. If she lands that, you are in extreme trouble. However, there's some pretty dangerous weapons in the arsenals of Charlie and Nephthys as well. Of course, Nephthys has that spinning cutter, Tame the Nile, and Charlie has the video kill, which we have seen put away many opponents in the past.
Well, it should note too, Nephthys has so many ways to win. When you think back to Supercharged, she didn't even have to use Tame Now to retain her championship.
Well, she hit it with a Meteora. Or, we've also seen, I believe, not long ago, a moonsault on Hypercloud.
10 minutes gone.
Something that I have never seen Nephthys do the entire time she's been in SOW. So, you know, she could always pull something new.
Of course, the 10-minute call just passed. That means cut play is now active. That's been a fairly deciding factor in both World Tag 500 matches tonight, is use of cut play and how you use it, and if you're able to cut your opponent off or not. Has been much more crucial than I think I was expecting to see here in the first rounds, at least.
Yeah, it's something that often we see the cut play run out, and that is the reason the match ends. It's very surprising how much better the SOW wrestlers have gotten at actually cutting off the opponent's pin breakup attempts. Oh, Cameron trying to walk up, but no! Nephthys able to get back to her feet before the figure four or sharpshooter could be locked in there. That would have been deep in the Classic's corner as well. Could have been a very bad situation for Nephthys.
Yep.
Instead, she catches her with a Hurricane Rana.
No cut play used there. No one baited off that move.
Well, it didn't even last that long either. I guess both sides figured that that was not close to the end. Now Cameron has Nephthys in a corner, not the corner that she'd rather have her in, but... Oh, wait a minute! Nephthys with a counter! And there's that backbreaker. Arm around the neck as she executes. Gets behind and kicks the legs out by the backs of the knees. Although she stays down for a while, Cameron Stone with the snapmare manages to get to the tag. Now Pat Roberts legal. Oh, I thought Nephthys was about to go tag out again. Leaving it to Pat versus Charlie. Instead, she's going to keep going.
Uh-oh.
It's the Frankensteiner into a shooting star double knees. And then Kat immediately tagging back to Cameron again. Oh, wait a minute! DDT! And Cameron taking advantage of the damage just done. It's a Carolyn lift suplex. And Charlie is able to cut it off. Kat almost stopped the cut play, but Charlie was just a moment too fast. Knocked Kat down and then broke up the pin.
I hate to give her credit for it, but probably the most impressive use of...
Oh,
wait a minute!
Sharpshooter! No cut play being used here. Charlie has incredible, I gotta say she was right, but I was gonna say she has an incredible belief in Nephthys there. And Kat, being smart, saw Charlie not entering the ring, chose not to enter herself. Oh wait, the seatbelt clutch, that's going to force Kat Roberts to make an entry, while Nephthys doesn't even have to. So now, the Bangers are up on cut play.
And that has mattered tonight for those not keeping track at home.
It mattered for the Bangers tonight, the other side of the Bangers, and I mean, there's the cut play used up. I believe that's the last one for the Classics.
And the Bangers should have one in their back pocket.
If they get into a negative situation where they're being pinned, they're going to be able to break it up essentially for free. That is unless the ref, of course, awards an additional cut play to the classes. That is still a possibility here in SOW.
That is true. They're showing a fighting spirit.
They're going back and forth.
20 minutes gone.
We're 20 minutes into this one. Really giving its position as the main event. Hammerlock body slam, slamming her right onto that arm. And then a leg drop also onto that arm. Comes up, arm bar. Trying to make Cat Roberts tap here. Cat slips free. Oh, there's the high knee. Cat goes for the cover. Cut play is awarded to the Classics, but it's far too deep into the wrong corner.
That is about as unfortunate as they can really get for an extra cut play.
I will also say, though, it forced out the cut play from the Bangers. Oh, but both sides get another one. The ref is awarding these extra cut plays like crazy, huh?
Maybe we miscounted. Maybe that was their extra one.
Maybe. Oh, but Charlie, I thought she was going to try to go for the video kill there. So it's usually her setup. Looks like she's not confident in it at this moment. Needed to get a little more damage in. Oh, going for a different setup. And now she's got it targeted. There's no cut play on either side without another extra awarded by the ref. Video kill. And is the match over? Whoa! Okay, the ref is running a lot of free cut plays there. But
yeah, they did.
Bangers.
Now wait a minute. Now, ref. We can't end the show like this. Ref.
Come on, let's get security down here.
What you want to see to end the first night of the World Tag 500, but that's Charlie Scene for you.
Yeah, no, I mean, you can see even Nephthys doesn't scoop that low yet. But as alluded to earlier, it is time for the sign-off, which means that is all we have for you tonight, folks. As always, I am your lead analyst, Devil D, here with my commentating partner,
MD Punk.
We're going to be signing off. See you next week.